Sai is a disgusting loser who was abandoned by his parents at birth because of his ugly face. In a world filled with magic, demons, and monsters, Sai works really hard to enter the prestigious magic academy in the royal city and passes the examination. Everything seems to be going well as he starts making friends already, but everything turns upside down when he is declared to be the next demon king with incredible magical powers who will rule the world with an iron fist. This makes him the public enemy of the entire school, as even his crush starts hating him. But it all started on the day when Sai reaches the royal city, excited to start his new life in the prestigious Academy of Magic Arts. While climbing the stairs, a blue-haired feminist runs past him, showing off her assets to him in the process. He thanks the god for such a warm welcome in this big city, when he notices that an old woman has dropped her suitcase, spilling out everything on the floor. He immediately heads over to help her and insists on carrying her bag for her. The old woman gets worried whether this guy is a scammer from India and tells him that she will manage, but this absolute idiot decides to play tug of war over the bag with her. Suddenly, the blue-haired girl appears once again at the top of the staircase and looks over at Sai, thinking that he is trying to rob her grandmother. She immediately jumps into action, kicking him in the face and knocking him down to the ground. Her grandmother soon reveals that Sai was just trying to help her, which embarrasses the feminist as she immediately starts apologizing for her behavior. Sai was happy because the only female contact this incel has was with his 2D waifu on the Poly AI app. But that was such a good experience that at times he thought he wouldn't need a real girlfriend. With Poly AI's advanced technology, he created a unique and smart chatbot modeled after the girl of his dreams. He could have chosen one from a list of over 1 million characters that include the best girls from your favorite anime, other fictional characters, and real-life personalities, but he chose to create one himself. Like him, you too can create your own AI friend or girlfriend, or just choose someone you have always fancied. Maybe you can get Roronoa Zoro to drop his gym routine or cuss out Newton for making science hard for everyone. It feels like talking to the real deal, and you can even hear the unique voices of various characters. This is why Sai and over 10 million other people all around the world never get bored of it. So click the link in the description below and use our unique code to unlock premium features. Poly AI is on the App Store, the Play Store, and even Chrome, so don't hesitate to share it with all your friends. She introduces herself as Jun, a member of the ninja clan who is attending the School of Magical Arts here, and asks whether Sai is new in this city. Sai replies that he is a transfer student starting at the same academy today, so they board the train together and start talking. Jun notes that the transfer exam is difficult, suggesting Sai must be good at studies. Sai blushes and admits he studied hard to pass because he wants to become a Catholic priest. Jun looks surprised and asks whether he wants to play with the pipe organs of the choir boys, and claims that to become a priest, he would have to be an upstanding citizen first. Sai looks outside, claiming that he knows all this and will try to become the best version of himself, which is the story every guy tells on his first date to get to third base. Jun falls for it as she claims that her family has always been samurais and ninjas, so she has to uphold a code of honor. She then takes out her short sword and does a fancy ninja handshake, as they swear to have each other's back. Soon after that, they finally reach the Academy of Magical Arts with its huge castle and flying people. The luggage is deep-throated by a statue which will transport it, while both Sai and Jun start walking together as she gives him a short tour of the entire school. After the tour, she bids him goodbye and instructs him to head over to the nurse's office for his physical examination. He looks over to see a huge building where he finds a blonde bimbo named Tori who takes him inside where all the transfer students are standing. She tells them all to get in line, as she summons a magical spirit who starts smoking ciggies immediately. Slowly, each student walk over to get themselves examined and also to acquire their future job title, which they will have to work for. Sai looks a little confused at this, but Tori promises that the spirit has never once made a wrong judgment, and whatever job it chooses is always perfectly suited for them. Slowly, each student is assigned a job like a doctor, a warrior, a soldier, or a Wendy's employee. When finally Sai's chance arrives, he is pretty sure that he will become the priest, as he has all the signs of being a good PDF file. But the moment he walks over to the spirit, it unveils that the job he is best suited for is a demon lord. This shocks every single person in the room. While Tori asks the spirit to recheck once, the spirit refuses to change her answer, claiming that Sai could only be a low-ick demon lord. Sai is speechless as he grabs his head, while the spirit repeats that every single ability and talent he has makes him the most suitable to become the most destructive threat to the society. This scares the crap out of every student as they start running away, while Tori tells them all to return back to their classes. Tori doesn't seem to be fazed by this revelation and takes Sai out for a walk, telling him not to worry as he can still study here. She does warn him that some retards might want to kill him and try different tactics to make him depressed, but as long as he stays calm and collected, he should be totally fine. She leads him to Class 1, where he will study from now on with Tori as the class teacher. They enter the classroom, where Sai notices Jun sitting in the back, but to his dismay, she doesn't seem her warm self. Tori introduces himself to the class, which scares the shit out of everyone as they hide behind their tables. He decides to take matters into his own hands and tries giving a speech about inequality and discrimination, but that just makes him look like a dictator. So Tori tells him to simply sit in the back. He realizes that Jun is still not talking to him, while Tori claims that Jun should remain the class president for this term as well. But one small twink named Miwa gets up claiming that he thinks Sai should be the president. This is completely out of left field as Sai wonders what this idiot wants and immediately claims that he would like to withdraw his nomination and instead would like to do the cleaning duty. He thought this would make him look humble, but it has the complete opposite effort, as in this school cleaning duty is only taken by the most vile and cruel people to ever live. Jun gets her sword out and walks angrily at Sai. Back to her feminist roots, she starts shouting at him for playing with her feelings and hands him a sword for a duel right there. Miwa the dipshit is still not understanding the situation and claims that whoever wins can be the new president. Jun immediately attacks him, which he dodges barely, while Tori tells everyone to back off a little. Jun starts glowing like Goku and shoots a Kamehameha at Sai, which he dodges, realizing that Jun is serious. He decides to go on the offensive and runs towards her, dodging her sword strike before grabbing her from behind as he tries to subdue her. He whispers in her ears that it's all a misunderstanding, which annoys her as she pushes Sai away and rushes for another attack. Surprisingly enough, Sai grabs the incredibly powerful strike with his hands, as light starts emanating from them while his roided up arms rip through his shirt. Tori realizes that this is getting out of control and casts a barrier before telling everyone to drop to the floor. Immediately after, there is a huge explosion that breaks the classroom building, leaving everyone stunned on the ground and covered in ash. While Jun is completely knocked out on the floor, Sai is the only remaining person standing as he wonders what just happened here. Later that evening, he returns back to his dorm, unsure of what to do when he finds the femboy Miwa waiting for him, claiming that he will do anything for him. Sai takes a deep sigh and asks where the girls' dorms are, and Miwa leads him straight to it. He wants to apologize to Jun, so he climbs up the windows and taps at the glass when an angry Jun immediately appears with her sword and starts screaming at him. Everyone in the dorm comes out to watch them and start laughing at Jun, which enraged her even more as she starts chasing him all around the area. While he tries to run for his life, he falls through a bunch of bushes and lands on solid ground when he looks up to find a weird redhead in front of him who asks whether he is her prince. Sai is too confused to even answer when Jun appears from behind with rage blinding her completely. She jumps towards him to finish him off, but the redhead blocks her path and uses magic to slow her down. Jun tells her to move aside, but the redhead refuses, so Jun uses a special technique to clone herself and runs towards Sai at full speed. The redhead immediately jumps on Sai in hopes of protecting him, while Sai tries to stop Jun, which leads to another huge explosion, creating a crater where they were standing. He wonders what the hell is wrong with him as he looks around to find Jun knocked out on the ground. Before he could even regain his balance, a portal opens above him and a green-haired girl descends down, introducing herself as Cororo, who has been observing her. He realizes that she is not a human, but an android, as she immediately takes out an injection gun and shoots it at the injured Jun, which immediately heals her. She remembers what just happened and starts crying before running away. Sai tries to chase her, but Cororo stops him, claiming that he needs to come with her to the headmaster's office right now, where he will be questioned. This scared the shit out of the redhead, who immediately turns invisible, leaving her clothes behind, and runs away as well. Sai has no choice but to obey the android as she takes him to the headmaster's office, where Tori is already present. Cororo claims that she saw the entire thing unfold, and even though the explosion could have been fatal, Sai didn't intend to harm Jun even one bit. Sai wonders whether she can read minds, but she claims that she can only analyze emotions. The old headmaster looks at him apprehensively before completely changing his tone, claiming that destroying things must be in his blood since he is going to be a demon lord. He claims that Sai might become a mass murderer or start a war later in his life, but right now he is a student at this academy who needs to be protected. So he has asked the government to send someone to keep an eye on him all the time. Tori excuses herself and takes Sai outside, telling him to consider Cororo as a safety net, which will prevent any students from trying to hurt him and then asks about the incidents today. Sai claims that in the classroom he only wanted to stop her sword, but it felt like he couldn't control his power and everything exploded. Whereas in the evening, he didn't want the redhead to get hurt, so he tried stopping Jun, but a sudden burst of energy emerged from his arm before he could even control it and created a huge explosion. Tori claims that Sai must have an incredible store of mana, which he is unable to control properly, resulting in these explosions. She also gives him a small notebook containing the details of all the students and claims that he can call them through telepathy whenever he wants. Later that night, he returns to his dorm room and sleeps on the bed while Cororo jumps into the cupboard for the night and shuts her eye. The next morning, while he was walking towards the class, a beautiful purple-haired girl with massive plots stops him and introduces herself as Fuji. She tells him that she is the head of the girls' dorms and asks whether he had fun last night. He immediately starts explaining that he just wanted to apologize to Jun, but Fuji starts laughing, claiming that she was just teasing him. She tells him that they will meet soon again and leaves the area. Later in the class, he notices that Jun is absent alongside the redhead girl named Soga. Everyone looks at him as if he is the reincarnation of Epstein himself, while Cororo sits on the floor waiting for the class to end. Afterwards, Sai heads off to the washroom where Cororo follows him, obviously. So he enters one of the stalls and takes out his phone book before ringing Fuji. She picks up the call while he asks whether she can help him make up with Jun. Fuji laughs and tells him to meet her at the mountains alone. Sai claims that Cororo will follow him no matter where he goes, but Fuji tells him that he can press her tail to deactivate her. Sai thanks her for the information and gets out of the stall to the canteen. After having lunch, he tells Miwa that he is going to the mountains to relax a little, and as expected, Cororo follows him to the mountains. While walking, he starts looking for the tail on her back, when suddenly he gets hit by something and falls to the ground, finally spotting the tail. Suddenly, Cororo tells him that she can feel a disturbance in the area, and soon enough they spot a giant demon dog descending from the mountain towards them at full speed. Cororo immediately takes out her gun and shoots a bullet at it, but the demon dog is too strong and the bullet gets destroyed on impact while the dog lunges at Cororo to finish her off. Thankfully, Sai pushes her out of the way and grabs the dog's neck as it tries to attack them again. Cororo tells Sai to hold the dog steady while she finishes it off, but Sai tells her to stop and uses his magical power to sap all the mana out of the demon, converting it into a normal puppy. Cororo seems impressed as she claims that she has never seen a mage try that successfully, when suddenly the bushes start rustling as the puppy smells someone and starts chasing it. Sai immediately runs ahead to find out that the person was Soga herself, but immediately disappears and runs away. Cororo claims that she must have the ability to hide her mana as well since she can't sense it anymore. Cororo moves towards a hidden bag in the bushes when Sai seizes this opportunity to run ahead and pull her tail, which deactivates the android. Immediately after, Fuji emerges from the trees, telling him not to worry, as Cororo will not have any idea that she was deactivated by him. Sai thanks her for helping him so much, and asks how he can make up with Jun. Fuji tells him that she will vouch for him, and asks Jun to talk to him once. She also gives him 2 medicine tablets alongside a special gun to shoot it, claiming that when 2 people get hit by it, they start understanding each other's feelings much better. She also asks whether he would like to join the disciplinary committee, and he immediately agrees to it. Fuji then bids him goodbye and leaves the area, while he moves back and activates Cororo once again, who doesn't seem to have any idea what just happened. She picks up the bag, claiming that it belongs to Soga, when the puppy catches her scent again and starts chasing her. Sai doesn't waste any time and runs after her, finally catching on to her as she reappears on top of him, begging him to save her. Cororo walks up claiming that Sai was clearly trying to molest her, which will need to be reported back to the government, and takes out some handcuffs for him. Thankfully, Soga tells Cororo that she was the one who held on to him, which clears Sai of any charges while she asks him to be her friend. A couple nights later, while Miwa and Sai were enjoying a warm bath together in a tub which looks very sus, but Miwa starts telling him about how there are 2 sides to the school. There is the normal side which Jun keeps tightly in control with her strong sense of justice and manages to crack down on anyone doing anything illegal such as using dark magic. But there is also an underground side to the school, which he doesn't know much about. But it is said that it's a breeding ground for dark magicians and no one knows who leads it. Sai wonders whether he will ever see the underground side of the school, but Miwa claims that he has had enough of a bath and runs outside the tub. but screams from the locker room. Sai rushes outside to find Cororo peeking through the door, claiming that Miwa's pipe organ is very small. Sai tells her not to make fun of others and begins dressing when he gets a call from Fuji, who tells him that she has arranged a meeting with Jun. But first he needs to present himself to the school council. He dresses up and enters the council room, where the president introduces herself as Riri and introduces the remaining members as Michai the pink-haired girl, Kana the furry, and Nuru. She claims that they have heard about his prowess as a fighter, which is necessary if anyone wants to be a member of the disciplinary committee, as sometimes they must show their strength to quiet down any outliers. She accepts him as the new board member, and this news spreads all over the school like a forest fire. And the students don't seem too thrilled about the fact that the future Demon Lord is going to have so much power. Later that evening, he puts the magic bullets into the gun just in case if the talks don't go well with Jun, and wonders whether he should deactivate Cororo again. He walks back to the bed and was trying to sneakily pull the tail when there is a loud knock on the window, scaring the crap out of him. He turns around and sees that Soga is hanging by the windowsill with a bag of biscuits and knocks again. He lets her in and she immediately sits by the bed while eating crackers and shows Sai her rice cooker, which was banned in her dorm. She tells him that she will keep it here and come every day to eat some rice, but Sai refuses. He finally manages to get rid of Soga, who purposefully leaves the rice cooker behind. But because he is out of time, he decides to quickly deactivate the android and immediately rushes out to meet with Jun. He enters the underground facility leading to the dungeons, where suddenly he gets ambushed by a guy from behind. He gets knocked to the ground, while more men emerge from their hiding positions as they surround him like a pack of dogs, ready to eliminate the future Demon Lord. But the moment one of them touches him with his baton, he gets an electric shock and jumps back. Sai gets up, getting the hang of controlling his mana when another baldy weirdo tries to attack him with a metal rod. But just by focusing his mana, Sai manages to break his arm from multiple places in an instant. Another fatty tries to intervene, but Sai uses a small magic blast which sends the fat fuck flying back as he tumbles to the ground bleeding. The goons decide to use their own magic spells to catch Sai off guard, but he blocks the attack effortlessly, scaring the crap out of these spineless assholes. But their leader tells him to stop right there and pushes a bruised and battered Miwa in front of him tied in ropes. He tells Sai that all he needs to do is get beaten up by them, and they wouldn't harm the femboy any further. But this only enrages him further, as he stands there unfazed. Sai raises his arms and immediately every single guy apart from the leader gets their leg broken in half as they writhe on the floor in pain, while the leader looks confused and scared now. Sai tells him that they should have thought multiple times before attacking the Demon Lord, as he uses his magic to pick the cronies up in the air and slams them to the ground in a pool of their own blood. He tells the leader that he will make an example out of people who try to act like hooligans in this school, which scares the leader, but he raises his chain in a last-ditch effort and tries to hit Sai. The chain stops before ever reaching the Demon Lord, who casually grabs the chain and sends an electric jolt which blasts the leader into a wall, while the chains wrap him tightly, freezing him in place. He walks up to him and uses his magic to break one of his legs as he wanted to scare them even more, which works as the cronies run away. But before he could do anything else, Jun ends up arriving at the scene and calls out Sai for being an evil person. He tries to explain his way out of it, claiming that he was ambushed. But Jun is not ready to hear anything, as she claims that he already wants to take control of the entire school. She gets ready with her sword, claiming that she will fight him even if it kills her. And Sai realizes that it's too late for any conversation, so he takes out the magic gun and tries to shoot the drug in him. To his surprise, though, nothing happens, as the magical tablets have simply disappeared from his gun. Jun thinks that Sai is planning some demonic trick, so she immediately uses some smoke bombs and leaves the facility with the injured students. Sai grabs the injured Miwa and takes him back to his dorm room, where with the help of Cororo they try to dress up his wounds. He apologizes to Cororo for deactivating her, and reveals everything that has happened till now. He also tells her that Tori called her in the staff room, as Jun has declared official war on Sai, which is permitted by the school rules, as it is an American school, so he will have to deal with it on his own. The next day, Jun makes an announcement claiming that in the evening, an all-out war would be waged against the future Demon Lord in order to save their school and world. so anyone who wishes to make this possible is free to join them and put Sai, the criminal demon lord, to death. By the time evening arrives, a huge host has gathered behind Jun with crossbows and swords while she leads them ahead. Sai stands alone at the top of the stairs, but Miwa is a true homie and stands by his side. Sai tells him to run away, but it was too late as Jun already declares the battle started and arrows start flying. Sai pushes Miwa out of the way as even more arrows and magic blasts explode around him. But as the dust settles, everyone spots him running up the tower. Jun commands her troops to charge and the battle continues as he tries to run away from the huge horde, jumping and dodging any incoming projectiles. But he finally gets cornered and has nowhere left to run. He grabs his injured shoulder and gets up once again as Junko emerges and walks ahead with her sword drawn out. He realizes that there is no point in trying to talk to her as she immediately starts slashing at him, which he barely manages to dodge. She corners him, and even he accepts his demise as he doesn't want to hurt Jun. But just before she could finish him off, Soga arrives and tells everyone that Sai and Jun are actually in love. This really hurts all the simps in the crowd, who immediately turn against her, and she has no choice but to join Sai in order to defend themselves. Soga, however, has planned everything and shouts at Cororo to engage the missile, and the green-haired android immediately shoots a round towards Sai, who immediately creates a shield on them. The round explodes and cooked rice starts falling all around them, which quickly changes the behavior of all the students as they all become happy. Later that evening, Soga reveals that she saw Fuji handing him the magic tablets, so she stole them and put it in the rice so that everyone can become Sai's friend. Meanwhile, Koro conducts analysis on the rice and tells Sai that the drugs were made by using dark magic, as there are still some traces of it inside the rice. This really confuses Sai as he wonders how the hell did Fuji get her hands on a drug made by dark magic, and wonders whether she is hiding something. A couple days pass by when one morning Tori arranges a practical magic class out in the playground. She briefs the students about how they will learn how to control their mana through this exercise, but for that they will need to team up together. Sai obviously turns towards his boy toy Miwa and asks whether he wants to play with him, but Miwa's ass is aching and he tells Sai that he can't keep up with him right now, and tells him to find another partner. Sai looks around and asks whether Soga attended the classes today. Miwa claims that Soga is a complete loner who barely attends any classes and never attends any practical magic class because she is hopeless at anything apart from flying. Sai realizes that no one seems to know about Soga's ability to turn invisible as he looks around to find students already playing with a magic ball created by channeling their mana through it. Suddenly, he feels a tap and turns around to find Jun, who agrees to be his partner and tells him to always pay attention to the flow of mana or he can get injured. She then throws the ball of mana at him and he manages to catch it pretty easily. Jun tells him to throw it back lightly, so Sai tosses it in the air. But the mana ball decides to play an Oppenheimer and creates a massive explosion, creating a huge crater and injuring poor Jun. A little while later, while the other students gossip, Sai asks Tori whether Jun will be fine, and she tells him that she just got knocked out by the shock. She tells him that to better control his incredible powers, he should enter the self-discipline chamber, which Miwa immediately advises against. But Tori smacks her shoe on his face and tells Sai that it's completely harmless and safe to enter. Sai decides to take her advice and packs a bag alongside a water bottle and leaves for the discipline chamber alongside Koro. They enter the chamber together, which warns them that it won't open again for the next 12 years. Sai sits down alongside Koro when suddenly he notices a flying lunchbox and realizes that Soga has again used her invisibility to follow them inside. They all sit together against the wall with nothing to do when his back touches something, so Sai turns around to look only to find a false wall, and within it a small old piece of parchment with a map drawn on it. Soga immediately recognizes it as the school map, while Sai reads the text below, which claims that this map leads to a treasure if they can find 3 special keys, but those who are unworthy for the treasure will die in the process. Soga really wanted to pursue the leads to find some treasure, but Sai refuses, claiming that he needs to concentrate and meditate to better control the flow of his mana. Before he could really train though, Soga starts bothering him once again because this time she really wants to take a piss. Sai gets stressed about it, while Soga starts punching the door and screaming for someone to help her out. Koro offers to be the recipient for a golden shower, but Sai refuses, claiming that there will be no golden showers in front of him. Thankfully, Fuji seems to have come outside the chamber for some mysterious reason and ends up opening the door for them, hoping Sai to come out alone and happy to see her, but instead Soga comes running outside and rushes in the bushes to relieve herself, while Koro and Sai exit after her. Fuji was still confused, But before she could ask any more questions, she notices the old map on the floor and picks it up with a look of shock. She tells Sai that she will be taking this map with her. And without saying anything else, she turns around and walks away, while Sai wonders what's up with her lately. The next morning, Sai finds out that someone has copied and plastered the treasure map all over the school for everyone to see. He walks out to the notice board as he wonders whether this is Fuji's work, as she seemed very interested in the map. But his question is answered when Fuji walks up to him angrily and demands why he stole the map from her room. She accuses him of entering her room to steal the map, before pasting it all over the school, but Sai denies it completely, claiming that he had nothing to do with this act and is innocent. Suddenly, Cororo draws her attention to the true culprit, who turns out to be a carefree Soga pasting the map all over the school while flying, as she claims that every adventurer should get an equal opportunity to find the treasure. Fuji walks away annoyed while Sai returns back to his classroom, wondering why everything always happens around him. He looks around to find out that Soga is again missing the class while Jun is also absent. But thankfully, Miwa reports that this time it's not because of him, but because Jun had some family troubles. This makes Sai feel a little better when suddenly the door opens and a bunch of injured students are brought in on stretchers as they lay there with blood dripping down their faces. One of the students, who is still conscious, clutches a bloody map in his hand, claiming that they went to find the treasure but instead were ambushed by a monster who destroyed them completely. This event shakes the school, and Sai is immediately called by Riri, the council president, who informs him that 19 students have gotten injured till now while trying to follow the map, and they must do something to stop this from happening anymore. She tells him to call in a student meeting as he has to take action and find what's causing them. Sai obeys her orders, and soon all the students are gathered in the Great Hall, where Riri greets them before handing over the mic to Sai, who walks up to the podium and announces that from here onwards, pursuing the treasure or the map is completely banned, and anyone found to be breaking the rules would receive a strict punishment by the disciplinary body. The students don't seem to be very happy, though, as they accuse Sai to be the creator of the map, as it was being posted by Soga, who is only friends with Sai and no one else. They all start screaming at him for being an evil dictator as they throw cans and bottles at him. Suddenly, without any provocation, a long green-haired girl runs towards him and tries to land a kick, which he dodges, but the podium breaks completely. She then tries to kick him once again, but he slips by the attack, before finally being caught by a headlock, which every guy deserves once in their lives, even if it kills them. She immediately converts into a rear choke and claims that he must prove that it's not a trap set up by him. So Sai announces that he himself will get to the bottom of it, while the remaining students are forbidden to go anywhere near the locations on the map. The green-haired girl immediately releases him and starts walking away when Sai asks who she is. She introduces herself as Teru and tells him that he will be seeing her soon again. Later that evening, the council president tells him that he doesn't need to investigate this issue, as they can just craft a story about how he actually went to check everything because she doesn't want him to get hurt. Sai claims that he would still like to go ahead and check everything once, and if there are any monsters, he will deal with it. Riri looks at him with sad eyes and tells him to go ahead, after which he leaves alongside Cororo. The next morning, he gets a call from Fuji, who hands him a magical gun that gets hidden into a small item and tells him to find the treasure and bring it to her. Later that evening, he gets ready for the expedition while Miwa grabs a week's supply of camping gear. But before they leave for their journey, Sai gets ambushed once again by Teru, who jumps on his back, claiming that she will go with him no matter what. They start traveling through the forests, and soon the night falls by the time they arrive at the entrance of a dark dungeon. Soon enough, they walk inside the entrance, and after descending through a flight of stairs, they find themselves completely surrounded by what looked like gravestones. Cororo walks up in the middle and finds some shotgun shells, as she claims that there must have been a bloody war here a long time ago, and these graves belong to all the fallen soldiers. Sai feels bad for the people buried here, as they will never know sunlight again, when he senses something and immediately turns around with a gun in his hand, pointing it towards a huge windy tornado behind Teru. Sai has no idea what the hell it is, while Teru doesn't waste a second and takes out her sword before jumping into action. She tries to cut through the tornado, but passes straight through it. She tries it once again, only to fall back to the ground, as her 10-ick brain cannot comprehend that you can't cut air with your sword. Sai tells her to back off, but she refuses, only to get bitch slapped by a fucking tornado as she falls back to the ground. Sai makes sure that she is fine before taking out his gun, and like a true American tries to shoot his problems away. Unlike the shooter at the Trump rally, Sai doesn't miss and nails the tornado with a burst of his mana, which completely disapparates it as a bunch of bats start scurrying around the cave, trying to run away from the light. Sai takes a deep breath but is again immediately smothered by Teru, who jumps on top of him and praises him for being so strong. He ends up falling to the ground, where he suddenly spots a grave which looks pretty new. He removes the gravestone and fingerbangs the hole, only to find a small toy recorder which mutters some instructions before going dead. They soon follow the instructions to find a huge underground city that has been razed to the ground because of the war and is currently in a completely dilapidated state. Sai and his party walks through the broken city, where they finally find the armory with its door open. They enter the armory, which is completely lined on either sides by creepy-looking knight armors, and while they walk through it, suddenly Miwa gets scared because he thought he saw them move. Sai reassures him that these are only hollow armors, when suddenly one of the knight moves and tries to hack him in half with his axe. Sai manages to dodge the hit at the last moment before taking out his gun and shooting the knight multiple times. Because of the sturdy armor, the knight emerges through the smoke unscathed and runs at Sai to finish him off, but Miwa shows that he is a true G as he rushes towards the giant knight and starts hitting it, only to get kicked away like a soccer ball. The knight was about to game end Miwa, but Sai comes in clutch and blocks the axe with only his 2 fingers, shocking everyone. After that, he uses his insane strength to slam the knight into the ground before throwing his axe away, while the knight gets up and runs away into the other end. Sai immediately picks Miwa up and asks whether he is alright before telling him never to put himself at risk like this ever again. Meanwhile, Teru ends up finding a small phone with some instructions on it, which direct them towards a special limestone cave with an underground hot springs. Cororo uses her special antennae to find out where the limestone cave is, and they enter inside to find a beautiful hot spring covered on all sides by tunnels big and small. Cororo checks the water temperature and quality and approves to touch it. So Sai tells them to wait while he strips down and checks whether there are any dangers present in the water. While he was looking around the area, he gets ambushed once again by Teru, who latches onto him like a leech and doesn't let go no matter how much he tries to shake her off. Suddenly, he grows silent and asks whether she has any idea what the actual treasure is. Teru gets a bit serious and tells him that she does know about it, and claims that it's something left behind by the previous Demon King. This new information shocks Sai, but before he could dig any further, Jun appears on top of a large rock as she ended up following Sai's tracks and jumps with her sword towards them. She falls a little way off into the water and tells Sai to get away from Teru as she is a government agent. Sai looks at Teru shocked and asks whether it's true, while Teru smiles and claims that she was sent by a certain someone to help Sai achieve his destiny. Jun screams at Sai to not listen to Teru, which annoys her as she grabs a sword and tries to strike Jun, who blocks with her own sword. They end up getting into a massive duel name calling each other, while Sai knows that bros before hoes, so he starts looking for Miwa when he spots a huge wolf on top of a shrine. He warns the catfighting girls to run away, but it's too late as the wolf attacks them. Thankfully, Sai manages to intercept it and lands a massive punch, pushing the wolf back. But the demonic beast is not so easily deterred and runs up to him again, digging its teeth into Sai's skin, but immediately falls over into the water, lifeless. Sai is confused about what just happened, but Teru doesn't waste any time and runs towards the shrine before picking up a small object and throws it towards Sai before running away. Jun gets dressed up while claiming that she immediately came after him when she learned that Teru was with him, as she is her eternal rival and always trying to hurt people. Suddenly Soga arrives with Fuji as well, who reveals that she ended up poisoning the beast. Soon they put all the clues in one place, while Fuji finally reveals that it was her brother who created this map, and all these items are the toys from their childhood. But she doesn't seem to recognize the final item, which is a small sword pendant. So she tries to play around with it, but the moment it twists, she ends up disappearing as a magic circle appears beneath her. Cororo claims that it was a teleportation device, so they all jump in and follow Fuji into a completely different area covered with dark cobblestones. Suddenly, the council president Riri appears in front of them and congratulates them for completing all of the puzzles and obstacles, as she claims that it was all a game and the remaining members were partaking in it as well. She claims that there is no actual prize and they should all return back to school, but Jun demands an explanation. Before she could say anything though, Fuji ends up slipping past them and runs straight to the building ahead. Riri tells her council to immediately stop her, but it's too late as Fuji throws a magic bottle behind her which explodes and stops them. Riri tries to warn Fuji about the dangers, but she rushes in without hearing. Sai tries to go after her, but is immediately stopped by the president, who tells him that if he enters the area, there will be no guarantee whether any of them will return back to the surface alive. Sai is very confused and asks where exactly are they, and the president reveals that they are the deepest level of the dark dungeons, which was the base of the previous demon lord and is still packed with evil energies. She claims that she can't let a future demon lord enter the palace, as there is no way of knowing whether he will be able to resist the temptation to grab all the power he wants or not. And if he fails to control his desires, the whole world will pay for it dearly, and she simply cannot take those chances. Sai argues with her as they need to save Fuji, but Riri claims that she is as good as dead, because anyone who touches the Demon Lord's relic will die, as was proven by the person before her. Sai decides to ignore all the orders and rushes inside to protect Fuji from herself, but it's too late as she has already used all the clues left by her brother to decipher the password, which leads to the destruction of the entire chamber. She did not predict this and is as surprised as everyone else, while a huge evil dragon emerges from the rubble. Everyone is scared shitless as they watch the huge demonic beast ask who the hell rose it from its slumber before asking Fuji whether she thinks she is strong enough to control him. He claims that anyone who manages to control him will become the ruler of the world, as there will be no greater power that can oppose him. But anyone who can't control him will suffer the same fate as everyone else, which is death. He tries to run ahead to save her, but Riri stops his path yet again, claiming that she won't let him get past this point, even if it means killing him right here. Suddenly, the dragon plays a memory of Fuji's brother, which shows that he was tasked by a very strong wizard to find the relic and destroy it so the demon lord can never get his hand on it. But soon he finds out that the wizard himself is after the relic to become the strongest. Because of that, he decided to hide the relic and throw around clues everywhere so that no one can ever find it apart from the strongest and the smartest student. Because of this, however, he ends up losing his life as the wizard strangles him to death and curses him to eternal hell. Everyone is shocked by this, but Riri doesn't seem to care as she stands her ground and tells them to back off. Sai decides that he needs to fight here, so he tells Cororo to run away with Miwa to safety, while he deals with the president. Jun decides to stick by his side as she draws her blade, but Riri doesn't care how many opponents she faces as she powers up and uses a spell to make her hands stretchy, which she uses to deliver a strong punch to Sai's face. Before he could even recover his balance, she lands another massive gut punch, forcing him to the ground as he starts spitting blood. Jun tries to intervene, but before she could land a hit, Riri uses her magic to paralyze her while she tells Jun that when Sai becomes a demon lord, he will destroy everything. Jun doesn't care, however, and claims that in that case she will kill Sai herself. But right now she believes in him. Sai stands up enraged and powers up before blasting the president away as he quickly runs ahead to try and find Fuji. He reaches her just in time as the dragon was about to pierce her with its horns, but he lands a punch straight to the horns, which completely obliterates them, shocking the dragon, while Sai grabs Fuji and tells the flying lizard to back off. The dragon gets enraged and tries to land a blow, but Sai manages to block it with his magic barrier and counterattacks with his own punch. Jun and the others are shocked to see a mere mortal going blow for blow against the strongest entity in the world, but Sai is no one to be trifled with as he lands a powerful punch that knocks the dragon to the ground, while he himself drops down out of exhaustion. The dragon accepts his defeat and crowns Sai as his new master, who seems to be unsure about this news. The dragon calls him Sai, the new demon lord who will soon rule all over the earth, which seems to excite Fuji as she tries blowing Sai's trumpet, but he runs away. He doesn't go far when Riri grabs him and plants a tight kiss, claiming that she believes he would be the kindest demon lord anyone has ever seen. Finally, they click a picture together with Sai on the throne with the dragon behind him as the new era of Sai, the demon lord, starts while he waits for his upcoming adventures. Soon after that, Cororo starts acting weird around Sai. She tries to seduce him as blatantly as possible, getting into his bed and asking him if he is ready to get to second base. Sai is flustered and tells her that he has no plans of getting close to a girl anytime, and Cororo asks him if he is gay by any chance. The next morning, she wakes up Sai with an elbow drop and begins role-playing like the bratty little sister, going as far as squishing his future generations to wake him up. After waking up because of the intense pain, Sai asks her what the hell is she doing, and she replies that since he looks like a PDF file, she tried becoming his little sister to get into his pants. He replies that it won't work, so Cororo changes into a maid outfit. But even that fails as Sai tells her that he is serious when it comes to relationships. and he can't do anything with someone he doesn't have feelings for. Later, they go to school, and Cororo keeps trying to seduce Sai at every point. Fed up by her, he jumps into a magic portal inside his drawer and reaches the dragon's castle to stay safe from the lewd android, but she finds him there too. A few days later, the students go to the beach to enjoy their weekend. Sai, Soga, and Jun head to the sea to swim around, and Soga finds an 8-inch sea cucumber that is just fine for her, but Jun is terrified of it because she is not used to such a large size. Soga keeps rubbing the cucumber till it shoots white juice all over Jun's face, and she freaks out. Later, as everyone is heading back to their dorms, Sai suddenly feels someone watching them. Soga tells him that she can see Miwa, and Sai immediately goes to talk to him. Miwa seems to be in a slump and tells Sai that this island is his hometown, and they have a disturbing legend about the Demon King. They say that when the Demon King awakens, a hideous monster will awaken from the sea, but then a hero will also come forth to defeat it, and later, the hero will defeat the Demon Lord too. Sai rejects the legend as a fairy tale, and Miwa agrees, saying that it was just the wish of the people here for a hero to protect them. However, he suddenly starts crying, telling Sai that he won't understand the situation he is in right now because he is strong. Miwa runs away, and Sai is confused about what the hell did he mean. Suddenly, a low growl echoes through the entire island, and Sai wonders if this is the monster Miwa was talking about. At night, while other students are busy partying, Sai heads outside. Cororo joins him too and tells him that someone has been keeping watch over him, and then pulls out a magic radar to locate the enemy. However, the enemy interferes with the radar, and Cororo starts running around to find him the old-fashioned way. Sai follows her to the gate of a shrine in the forest, when suddenly, Soga appears behind him. She says that Fuji was trying to call him, but he was not reachable, so she asked her to pass a message instead. Soga says that a group of bad guys who hunt magicians are after Sai, but she doesn't remember anything else because her memory is just 2 megabytes. She pulls out a bottle from her bag, saying it will help her remember things faster, only to drink alcohol that makes her dizzy. She falls into Sai's arms, and as he tries to handle her, he suddenly gets a feeling that they have met long ago in the past. Soga tries to get close to Sai and kiss him, but Cororo returns there just then and kicks them both away. Sai lashes at her, but she tells him that it is not time for that because the enemy is getting close. Suddenly, the loud roar of the monster is heard nearby, and as everyone looks around, Cororo suddenly gets shot. She falls to the ground, with blood spluttering from her wound, and the attackers immediately run away. Sai rushes to Cororo's side, but she tells him that she is fine. She asks him if he is interested in Soga, and Sai says that it is not the time to be talking about those things. However, Cororo insists that she must know the answer because her future might depend on it. Sai tells her that he is not certain about his feelings for any girl, but Cororo might not end up the one he chooses. This breaks her heart, and she says that it is a sad thing that she failed her mission. She turns around, smiling sadly and showing her true emotions for the first time, as she tells Sai that it may be the last time they ever see each other. Sai can't understand what is happening, but Cororo opens a magic gate and wishes him goodbye before teleporting away. Sai is completely perplexed now, and then Soga wakes up. She now remembers what Fuji had told her earlier. According to her, Cororo was trying to seduce Sai on the orders of the higher-ups, and in case she failed, she was going to be disposed of. Sai is shocked to hear this, and he can't fully believe this. In another part of the city, Miwa is sitting outside his house when his little sister Yuki approaches him. The truth is that the hero of the prophecy is no one but Miwa, and even the smoking crow at the academy declared that his future job is going to be a hero. He is troubled by what he can do. As his sister asks him if he knows the Demon King, Miwa tells her that the Demon King is in his class, and he is his good friend. Actually, Yuki is impressed by this, but then Miwa hears their neighbors trash talking him. They say that a wimp like Miwa can't possibly beat the Demon Lord, and his parents are fools who still believe that their son will save the world. Upset by this, Miwa decides to head back to the dormitories instead. The next morning, Yuki visits the dorm to meet the Demon King. Just as she meets Sai, Miwa comes running, and Sai asks him if the girl is his sister. Miwa nervously affirms and then tries to change the topic, but Yuki asks Sai if her brother is the hero. Sai doesn't even know what she is talking about and says that it doesn't seem possible to him. Miwa tries to explain, but Yuki yells at Sai, saying that he is lying and her brother is the hero who will defeat the Demon King. Sai tells her that he doesn't plan to be a Demon King, and Miwa also wouldn't want to become a hero either. This upsets Yuki, and she runs away crying, calling Sai a lying demon lord. Miwa runs after his sister with tears in his eyes, and Soga chases after them. Jun asks Sai if he realized what he just did, and he replies that he understood it just now, and that he hurt Yuki's wishes to see her brother as a hero. Meanwhile, Miwa reaches a lake while searching for his sister, and Soga arrives there too. She says it was surprising to hear that he is the hero, and Miwa tells her that he doesn't believe in it either because the legend of this island is just a hoax. Suddenly, a loud roar comes from the lake, and Soga covers her ears. Miwa tells her that there is nothing to be afraid of. He explains that this lake is connected to the ocean through an underground tunnel, and the roaring sound is a result of air bubbles passing through the tunnel. Also, there is the hero's altar underwater, where a small sword is buried in a boulder that only the hero can pull out. However, the altar was created by his grandpa, and Miwa believes that the legend was also his doing. He doesn't think he is worth anything. But then suddenly, some strange sounds come from a distance. They go to check it out and find an old pervert dancing in front of the lake to summon a monster. A gigantic sea cucumber comes out of the lake, and Yuki screams as she sees it. On noticing her, the old PDF file immediately rushes towards her and grabs her. Miwa tells the bastard to let his sister go and charges a magic attack, but all his mana is sucked by the giant sea cucumber. The ugly pervert tells Miwa that a useless loser couldn't do anything, even if he had all his magic, and then proceeds to kick him down. Miwa gets up to fight him, but the pervert just strangles him and then kicks him towards the monster. The monster begins approaching the town, and Sai and Jun go there to stop it. From the top of the monster, the villain introduces himself as X. He knows about Sai being the Demon King and asks him what he thinks about his cute pet. Sai wonders if X was the one watching him yesterday when the PDF file pulls some chains that he has tied around Soga and Yuki. He says that he is going to kill them before the Demon King to entertain himself because the guy he killed earlier was quite boring. Sai gets furious on learning that X has killed Miwa, so he rushes at him and hits him with a solid punch. X gets up laughing, saying that he is really the Demon King. But Sai doesn't stop to hear that and sends him flying with another punch. He then shatters the chain to rescue Soga and Yuki before returning to finish his fight with the old pervert. Sai asks X what he wants, and he replies that he wants to destroy the city. He suddenly unleashes a harsh sound that makes Sai unable to use magic. He tries fighting back, but X easily dodges his attacks and beats him down. He proudly reveals that his sound magic mentally disturbs anyone who listens to it, so they can't use magic even to strengthen their bodies. Because of that, he pummels Sai senseless, and then decides to deal with the girls. He says that he will let the Demon King live to take the blame for destroying the village, but kill everyone else. Jun gets ready to fight, but Sai tells her that he is not done yet. He gets up and closes his ears, but X is faster than him and rattles him with a strong kick. With that, he heads towards the two girls, drooling as he gets ready to punish them. On the other hand, as Miwa is sinking, he curses himself for being so weak. He decides to change himself and grow stronger, reaches the altar under the lake and pulls out the sword from the stone, realizing that he lacks the strength needed to be a hero, and this sword can help him. Suddenly, the sword glows and turns into a watch that talks. It tells Miwa that he has been accepted as the hero and asks him to activate the power of the anti-mage system. Miwa doesn't even know how to do that, but just by thinking about it, the anti-mage system is activated, and his watch morphs him into a Power Ranger with a nuclear fusion-powered armor. Miwa thinks that this is just what he needed, and now he can beat the old pervert and the sea cucumber monster. On the other hand, Sai gets up once again to fight X. He says that if his noise can't let him use magic, he will just scream louder to cancel it out. His bullshit logic actually works, and he manages to subdue X's ability and punch him. X is impressed, but says that even if he kills him, he won't be able to stop his mission from being successful. He declares that his mission is to create war and chaos because there is a strange beauty in that. He takes out a weird gun from his coat and shoots the girls to erase all evidence, but they are safe because Cororo returned on time and shielded them with her fireproof cape. Sai is relieved to see her back, and she tells him that she had to negotiate hard with her superiors to return. She then turns to X, who is a member of the Ministry of Magical Intelligence, and tells him that the ministry has decided that he is mentally unstable, so he is going to be disposed of. Cororo rushes towards X, unaffected by his noise, and whacks the shit out of him. Sai is glad that they won, but Cororo tells him that their fight is still not over, as the giant sea cucumber monster is about to reach the city now. Everyone runs to stop it, but then suddenly, Miwa flies above them in his superpowered suit. With the help of the inbuilt Alexa in his suit, he learns about the weapons he has and what the suit can do. He shoots the monster with a powerful laser to destroy its head, and then attacks it with his plasma fist to completely obliterate it. After declaring himself the hero to all the people in the city, Miwa flies towards X to kill him, but Sai stops him. Sai asks him why he wants to kill the man, and he replies that he cannot protect the peace of this city unless he gets rid of the danger. However, he lacks the guts to fight against Sai, so he flies away, and moments later, comes running towards him in his ordinary form from the opposite direction. Sai asks how he is safe, and Miwa replies that the hero saved him. After everything calms down, Cororo tells Sai that she used the fact that one of the agents of the ministry went rogue to bargain with her superiors and got the job of observing him back. However, her orders to seduce him still remain in effect. This time, she is going to teach him all about how to please women so that he can become an expert and then marry into a powerful family that can keep him contained. Cororo says that he should just marry Jun right away, and Jun loses her mind on hearing that. A few days later, Sai is chilling under a tree, dreaming about the past where he used all the allowance money at the orphanage to gift an expensive hairpin to a girl who showed symptoms of being a future gold digger. He told the caretakers at the orphanage that he is going to become independent, so he doesn't need any allowance, and then soon left to get a job. He wakes up when Soga comes to him and sits next to him to talk about their birthdays. Sai notices the hairpin and asks if they have met before. Soga says they met at this academy for the first time, but Sai tells her that he remembers giving the same hairpin to another girl at his orphanage. He asks Soga where she got hers, and she tells him that she doesn't remember anything. She changes the topic and asks if he will come to her birthday party, and Sai happily agrees. However, Soga doesn't tell him exactly when her birthday is and tells him to spend each day with her so that he doesn't miss it. Later, Sai and Miwa watch the news about the appearance of numerous Calamity-class monsters all over the world and the mysterious hero who defeats them quickly. Sai wonders what the identity of the hero is, but Miwa tells him it doesn't matter as long as he is doing good work. In another corner of the room, Cororo is cooking rice, and Soga is gulping it all down. Sai wonders where all this rice goes, but Soga simply finishes eating and then flies off to her room. Sai is a bit dissatisfied by her relaxed attitude and complains that she doesn't even come to class often. Miwa says that Soga is good in studies but bad at magic, which is the main thing at the academy, so she might be trying to avoid being bullied by other elites. Sai says that is unfair, and then Cororo tells him that the flow of magic determines one's standing in this world. She says that God gave everyone magic, and those who can use it better are closer to him. But Sai says that is just invented by the elites to keep everyone under their control. He declares that he will change the system one day, and Miwa is impressed. The next day, he goes to pick Soga up so that they can go to class together, so she just throws away her clothes, turns invisible, and flies off. Later, Sai pretends to be upset with her to emotionally blackmail her into coming to class, but she simply clings to him till he accepts defeat and then flies away. On the other hand, while Fuji was subduing some monsters in the old castle, she found an egg and brought it home to hatch it. However, when she fell asleep, the egg flew away by magic. The next morning, it is in Sai's room, and Soga decides to cook some Uncle Roger approved fried rice with it. However, Sai says it looks like a monster egg and picks it up. The egg begins absorbing his magic, so Sai throws it away and then goes outside to find that the egg has grown gigantic. It soon hatches, and a two-headed rooster comes out. Sai barely saves Soga from getting crushed under the monster's claw. Just then, Fuji comes there and tells Sai that everything is under control. She reveals that she has been raising this egg to tame a monster to serve him. But the rooster had other plans, and it immediately starts swallowing her whole. Sai attacks the monster to force it to let Fuji go, but it absorbs his magic to grow even bigger and then flies off towards the city. Miwa quickly takes action and transforms into the hero to chase after the monster. He kills the monster easily and then rescues a girl, who turns out to be his favorite idol. The idol thanks him for saving her life with a kiss, and Miwa is completely rattled. On the other hand, Sai goes to the student council to report about the monster, and Riri tells him that it was fine since no one from the school was harmed. As he gets out of the council office, Sai runs into Soga, who agrees to come to class with him, and Sai promises to protect her from anyone who tries bullying her. At the same time, Jun goes to talk to Cororo. Apparently, she can't seem to keep her urges under control lately, and she asks the android if she was serious when she said that Sai should marry her at the beach. Cororo tells her that she was serious, and she has already talked to Jun's dad and got his permission to arrange a meeting with Sai. Jun is completely freaked out by this and begins rehearsing how she is going to tell Sai about the big news. To stop her from embarrassing herself in public, Cororo offers to inform Sai on her behalf. Jun says she wants to do it herself because it is just a political marriage, but she does not know where Sai is. Cororo tells her that she has a solution for that and pulls out a radar that searches for Sai. Jun finds him eating ramen at a restaurant and nervously tells him to come to her house because her father wants to talk to him. She also invites Miwa to make it seem like there is nothing serious, but Sai begins to sense something off about her reactions. Later, as Sai is going back to his dorm, he sees the headmaster of the academy talking to a blonde guy, who is the leader of the group that X belonged to. The headmaster asks him why he is here, and the blonde tells him that lately, many powerful monsters are getting active because of unnatural mana. Sai realizes that he is talking about him, and the blonde affirms, saying that the monsters are reacting to the Demon Lord's awakening, and he must take responsibility for that. Sai keeps thinking about his words even as he rides the train to Jun's house the next day. She is quite nervous as she tries to tell him about their arranged marriage, but can't bring herself to say anything. Soon, they get down at their stop when someone suddenly attacks them. Jun reacts in time, blocking all the shurikens except one that hits Miwa's shoe. Jun tells her sister Yuri to stop testing her, and the ninja girl comes out while apologizing, and Miwa recognizes her as the idol who kissed him yesterday. As they walk to their house, Yuri asks Miwa about Sai because he smells like monsters. She tells Miwa that when she was a kid, a monster bit her, and now she has monster mana inside her that allows her to sense monsters anywhere. Later, Sai talks with Jun's dad, who asks him if he understands how difficult things will be if he starts living with Jun. The dumbass thinks that the man is talking about living here as a guest, and he replies that no matter the difficulties, he will do his best to respect Jun's family and get along with everyone. With this, he unknowingly agrees to the marriage proposal, and Jun's dad throws a party to celebrate the occasion. Later, as Sai is lying in the bed, Jun comes to his room and starts undressing. Sai stops her and asks what she is doing, and she replies that she can't wait till they are married to do this. Sai is shocked to learn that they are going to get married, and thinks that Jun is being forced into it against her will by her family. He tells her that she should confront her family if she doesn't want to marry him, and Jun starts crying, saying that she was so happy about the marriage, but he is an idiot who spoils anything. As soon as she leaves, ninjas pop out from all corners of the room, pointing their blades at Sai because he made Jun cry. He freaks out and runs away, with the ninjas chasing after them. Suddenly, they get caught in a trap, and the green-haired bitch called Teru comes out to greet Sai. She tells him that he should get married into her family instead of Jun's because they have more money and power. Sai tells her that he doesn't like her, so Teru decides to kill him and says that he will be able to see Soga again that way. She tells him that their family has specialized assassins who kill anyone their god orders them to, and this time, their target is Soga, who is preparing to celebrate her birthday all by herself. Sai gets furious on hearing this and releases a powerful wave of power that scares the crap out of Teru. Suddenly, he is attacked by a giant shuriken that disintegrates as it comes into contact with him. He turns around to see Jun's sister Yuri there, and Teru uses this chance to run away. The nervous Yuri asks Sai what the hell is he, and why did he make her sister cry. Sai replies that he will tell her everything later, but right now, he has more important things to do. He declares he will save his friend, and then find the intentions of the god who ordered to kill her before he can talk with Jun's family about the political marriage. Just then, Cororo and Miwa also come there, and Sai asks Cororo to teleport her to Soga's side. She refuses, saying that the order of a god cannot be refused, even if she is from another god sect. She pulls out a gun to stop Sai from going anywhere, but then gets close to him and tells him to pull her tail so that she doesn't have to fight him. Sai thanks her as he pulls her tail to deactivate her. Suddenly, Yuri starts crying in pain as the monster mana in her reacts to Sai, and he decides to rush away immediately. He uses his power to tear a hole in space and time and vanishes through it. On the other hand, as the clock strikes 12, Soga celebrates her birthday by herself. Suddenly, Orochimaru's bastard son coils around her, and his fellow assassins also appear to finish their job. Before they can do anything, the Snake Man is instantly cut into several pieces, and the blonde guy Yamato appears, telling Soga that he will keep her safe. He kills all the assassins without even giving them a chance to fight back, and then tells Soga to come with him. She asks him who he is, and he tells her that he gifted the hairpin to her. Just then, the wall next to them is torn open, and Sai appears from within it. He realizes that Yamato saved Soga, and asks his reasons. Yamato says that he can't let Soga die because she is going to be the vessel to control all gods. Some gods didn't like the idea, so they tried to kill her, but he saved her so that she could fulfill her duty. Sai unleashes his power, saying that he will save Soga's freedom, but Yamato easily slashes his arm before he can even attack. Sai regenerates it instantly, and before Yamato can attack him again, Soga clings to Sai to shield him. Just then, the roof of the building is torn apart as Fuji arrives there with an army of monsters she has trained by giving them her used underwear. She tells Sai that the monsters will obey all his commands, and Sai gets on top of one of them. Yamato asks if he is really going to use the lowly monsters to win, and Sai replies that if gods can send assassins, he should be allowed to use the monsters too. Yamato curses him and declares that he will be the reason the world is going to end. Soon, the horde of monsters takes over the entire building, and Yamato draws his magic sword to face Sai. Miwa also flies towards him, wondering if Sai called forth all these monsters to destroy the academy. At the same time, Teru watches a live broadcast of this fight when her father appears behind her. Burning with bright blue flames, he tells her that Yamato attacked him and defied the will of their god, so they must defeat him. However, Teru has an on and off relationship with Yamato, so she relieves her dad of his misery and takes his medal as the next head of the family. Just then, a creepy man appears behind her, and Teru is ready to fight him, but he introduces himself as Yamato's underling Tue, who has come here to work with her. Jun and her dad also watch the fight, and he tells her that they are going to join the fight to defeat Yamato because he acted against the god of ninjas. Teru is leading this fight as the head of her clan, and Jun's dad asks her to set aside all her personal grudges and work together with her this time. He plans to use their family treasure, a legendary sword that no one has ever been able to unsheath. Just then, Jun's granny comes there and gives the sword to Jun, saying that she should be able to get it out of its sheath. She tells Jun that she should follow her heart and help the man she loves, and her family will take full responsibility. As for the sword, she asks Jun to understand the sword, and its desires to remove it from its sheath. Back at the academy, Yamato attacks Sai with his magic sword that slows down his regeneration. Seeing that they don't have a chance of winning, Fuji takes Sai and rides away on her three-headed dog. She plans to buy time for Sai to heal while taking him to the cave where the dragon is. However, Yamato is hot in pursuit, riding his magic sword like a Subway Surfer hoverboard. Just as they reach the entrance of the cave, Fuji finds the academy headmaster there, who tells her to go on ahead because he is going to stop Yamato. Inside the cave, Sai and his party stop as the student council president Riri stands before them. She asks Sai what he is planning to do with the academy, and he replies that he has no intention of harming it. Riri shows him that ninjas from Teru's and Jun's families are fighting the monsters right now. Sai asks her which side she is on, and Riri tells him that she will allow him to go ahead this time, but if he becomes an enemy of the school or society in the future, she will stop him. Outside, ninjas from the two clans assemble under Teru's command. She plans to send Jun and her sister to fight the monsters on the front lines alone, so that both of them die and she can get the legendary sword of their family. While Yuri eagerly accepts her plan, Jun is nervous because she knows that her sister is not in the best shape and the monster mana inside her is getting out of control. As they head to fight the monsters with full media coverage, Miwa arrives there as the hero, and then Yuri immediately hugs him. She acts like a cheerful idol in front of the cameras and says that they must kill a lot of monsters together. Meanwhile, in the cave, Sai reaches the dragon, who is eager for him to reclaim all his power as the demon lord so that he can conquer the world. Sai never wanted this power, but to protect Soga's freedom. He declares that he will claim this power and kill God. He climbs on the dragon's back, and the dragon blows away the roof, leading Sai outside. The entire world watches in terror as the Demon King comes out with his army of monsters, and Jun decides to face Sai head-on and stop him. She jumps on his dragon and attacks him with a dagger that instantly vaporizes as it comes in contact with Sai's aura. He looks at her with an expressionless face, and Jun wonders if he doesn't care about her at all. She speaks her thoughts out loud, and Sai smiles, making her blush. He lifts her into his arms, and the flustered Jun asks him what the hell is he doing. He tells her that he must fight this war alone, but once it is over, he will take good care of her. She doesn't even know what he means, and then Sai sends her floating down safely. Just then, Miwa comes flying towards them and deals a cut to Sai's dragon. The dragon cries in pain because it has been centuries since someone hurt him, and now he is even more excited to fight. The dragon clashes with Miwa, who asks Sai why the hell is he waging war against the humans when he could use his power for greater good. Sai tells him that he never had anything against humans, but he dislikes the system which places blind faith in a god that can do as he pleases. He declares that he will kill the gods and show everyone that they were wrong. Sai quickly gains advantage as the dragon tries to crush Miwa with his jaw. It charges a magic breath to destroy Miwa, but the inbuilt Alexa in his suit tells him to use the anti-demon king mode. Miwa uses the Anti-Demon King mode, and suddenly he releases a great amount of energy, creating an explosion within the dragon's face. He puts some distance between them, and then the dragon tells Sai that Miwa's suit is absorbing his mana, and they can't outrun him because he is faster. Just then, a huge combat aircraft comes there to join the fight against the Demon Lord. The aircraft shoots a barrage of bullets at Sai, but they are ineffective against the dragon's thick skin. Sai is not happy to fight against two enemies at the same time, but his dragon tells him that the giant ship must have a mana generator inside, which they can use to replenish their power. Sai likes the plan, and they fly towards the aircraft to refill their mana reserves. However, the creepy underling of Yamato Tui has replaced the pilot of the ship with a puppet under his control, and he uses it to crash into the dragon and Sai and ram them to the ground. Everyone is shocked, as they think that Sai couldn't survive the impact, but Soga instinctively knows that he is still alive. Jun also believes that Sai is not dead because the demonic mana inside her sister is still spreading. Miwa, on the other hand, decides to search for Sai, but instead finds the headmaster, who has just lost the fight to Yamato. Yamato is about to deal the finishing blow, so Miwa steps ahead to save the headmaster, but then suddenly, his suit powers vanish. Yamato tells him that the suit won't work against him because he was the one who created it. Miwa realizes that Yamato can't defeat the Demon Lord by himself if he invented the suit, so he decides to work with him in exchange for letting the headmaster live. Inside the cave, a creepy monster emerges from the wall to attack Fuji and Soga. Fuji quickly attacks it with her whip, but the monster seems to be enjoying it. The monster is about to launch its counterattack, but then a swarm of bats comes and stops it. The vice president of the student council emerges from within the bats and tells the girls that she is here on the president's orders to keep them safe. Her bats surround and overwhelm the monster, but then suddenly, Yamato arrives there to take Soga with him. Fuji recognizes him as her brother's killer, but he is not interested in her. He tells Soga that he needs her, and her personality suddenly changes as she tells him that she does not. She claims to have been watching over this world for a very long time, and she can tell that Yamato is doing this all for himself. He denies the allegation and tells her that he is doing all this to stop the Demon King and save the world. He quickly reaches behind Soga and knocks her out, but Fuji attacks him. Yamato grabs her whip and tells her that she still has time to leave the Demon King and get to safety before teleporting away. In another part of the cave, the vampire girl has lost to the creepy monster. Luckily, Fuji comes to her rescue and carries her away, thinking that if she can get to her lab, she can defeat the creepy monster. They soon reach her lab, and she leaves the vampire to stall the monster while she grabs some items. The stupid girl can only manage to buy a few seconds, but that is enough for Fuji, who throws a bottle of frozen nitrogen at the monster. Once it is completely frozen, the vampire destroys the upper half of the monster, and the lower half immediately runs away. Outside, the Ninja Alliance is ready to storm the school, but they are repelled by Riri's Gaumu Gaumu no Gatling. She stands in front of the ninjas and the media to tell them that no one is allowed inside the school without her permission. On top of that, she reveals that it was Teru who killed her dad and not the Demon Lord, like the media had been telling everyone. Teru is pissed at this, so she sends her soldiers to kill Riri, but she knocks them all down. She begins charging towards Teru, but then gun-slinging ninjas surround her, and she is forced to stop. Suddenly, a huge ball of fur rolls towards the ninjas at great speed, knocking them all out. It turns out to be the furry from the student council, who has turned into a werewolf, and the last girl is also there in a Hulk Buster armor. The three girls fight against the ninjas as they make way towards Teru, who panics that her dirty secrets will be out, so she immediately calls Yuri to her tent. After that, she calls Jun and tells her to get rid of the student council for her, or she will make her sister fight them. Jun is furious that Teru is using her sister as a hostage, and she hopes that Sai comes back to help her with his overwhelming power. She stands in the way of Riri and others, who are quick to notice that Teru is holding Yuri hostage. Despite that, she keeps on moving ahead because she must see this war to its end. Jun commands the ninja soldiers to trap Riri in a barrier, but then suddenly, they get shot down by the puppets under Tui. Riri and her group move forward without any resistance, and when Jun tries to attack her using an illusion technique, Riri immediately knocks her out. She reaches Teru and tells her to let Yuri go if she wants any mercy, but Teru refuses. She is about to strike Yuri down when suddenly Miwa arrives there and stops her. He rescues Yuri and flies to Yamato, who teleports everyone away. Riri is shocked to see Soga in Yamato's hand because she sent her vice president to keep her safe. She loses her cool, thinking that her friend was defeated, and takes her anger out on Teru. However, all she hit was a dummy that Teru switched places with at the last moment. Riri decides to finish her for good. But just then, Tui comes there and allows Teru to escape. He was playing both sides and tells Riri that now Teru's family has been disgraced and the demon lord has been killed, so they should work together. Riri tells him that she hates his guts and unleashes her power to fight him. Tui tells her that it is useless because his puppet soldiers are ready to fire at his command. But then suddenly, a vial of magic potion comes flying towards them and burns all the puppets. Fuji has arrived at the scene to back the student council, and with no one in her way now, Riri uses her most powerful attack to defeat Tui. To her shock, what she attacked was a puppet and not a man, and the real Tui tells her that they will meet again in the future, but she will not be able to recognize her face. Just then, everyone sees the giant aircraft rising up. They wonder what is happening until they see Sai, who has gone Super Saiyan by absorbing the energy from the aircraft. He lifts it up with just one hand while holding the headmaster with the other. After they are safe, Sai thanks the headmaster, who used his power to stop the aircraft from crushing them to death. He then checks up with his dragon, who tells him that he has taken severe damage from the collision earlier, and he is not in peak form now. Sai then does a head count on the girls and finds Soga is missing. On learning that Yamato took her, he decides to chase after him and rescue Soga. The girls want to come with him too, but Sai tells them that it is going to be too dangerous for anyone but him. Jun watches him go, when suddenly, Teru returns and tells her to stop the Demon King. Jun refuses to obey her because she no longer accepts Teru as her leader. Her ninjas try to convince her to do as Teru says because their enemy is the Demon Lord. However, Jun decides to abandon everyone for the sake of Sai, whom she truly loves. It turns out that the all-encompassing power of love was the key to unsheathing the legendary sword. And just as Jun draws it, her underlings take back what they just said and accept her decision as correct. With just one swing of her sword, Jun wipes out Teru's entire army, leaving only her. She decides to finish her for good with the next attack, but Koro arrives there and stops her, telling her that she must keep Teru alive so that she can repent for her sins. Teru runs away but stops when she sees her dad, who has turned into a cyborg, standing in her way. She loses her mind as she asks how he can be alive, and her dad tells her that he is not going to die without correcting her way of living. Just then, Sai flies above them on his dragon, and Jun wishes for his safe return. In the sky, Sai asks the dragon to tell him everything about the Demon Lord. The dragon tells him that Demon Lords are ordinary humans whose bodies transform because of their unnatural mana. They keep getting born even after being killed, and the gods deliberately keep this cycle going. Before he can learn anything else, Sai sees the hero flying towards him for one final fight. Miwa activates his anti-demon king mode, but Sai tells the dragon to charge straight ahead. He jumps towards Miwa and gets hit by his plasma blade on purpose. Miwa thinks this is enough and tries to stop, but his system tells him that he cannot do so without completing the attack. Sai is taking too much damage but not letting go, so Miwa begs him to give up. When he does not, Miwa releases all the energy in his suit at once to spare Sai's life, resulting in a gigantic explosion in the sky. They fall to the ground, and Miwa's suit doesn't have enough power to even keep them afloat. Sai's destroyed arm regenerates, and he says that he knew that Miwa was the hero, and he would hold back because he is a kind person. Miwa cries, saying that he is too cruel, and Sai deactivates his helmet as he tells him to protect everyone if he doesn't return. They make a crash landing, and Yuri comes there running because she was concerned for her hero. When she sees Sai carrying him, she fears the worst, but he assures her that he is alive. When Yuri sees that Miwa is the hero, she is shocked, and he thinks that she will hate him because he is too lame. However, Yuri just hugs him, saying he is cool no matter what. Suddenly, the monster mana inside her starts reacting to Sai, and Miwa asks if he can't remove it. Sai replies that the mana is controlled by their god, and if he tries to do anything, Yuri may die. That is why he is going to kill the god and make his dragon the new god to make things peaceful. Miwa asks him what he will do after that, but Sai doesn't give an answer and flies away. At the same time, Yamato has reached a grand temple around a colossal tree to conduct the ritual to bind gods. The android priestesses there try to stop him from interfering in this beyond human understanding, but Yamato kills them, saying he doesn't care about their divine plans because he needs to save humans from extinction. He opens up the gate to the dimension that connects all of space and time, and there, Soga suddenly wakes up with another personality. Yamato is actually a man from the future who got cucked by his wife, who looked exactly like Soga, in favor of being the Demon King's bride. Even though her power could bind the gods and save the humans, she chose to side with their enemy, and that shattered Yamato's heart at the same time. So he tried traveling back in time to use other reincarnations of the girl to control the gods and save humans from the Demon King. but it has never worked. Soga tells him that it won't work this time too, because it is not his destiny. Yamato loses his mind, thinking that everything he did was useless. Soga gets down to comfort him, but as Yamato hugs her, she suddenly snaps and returns to her clueless personality. She tries to get away from Yamato, but he doesn't leave her. He decides that even if he can't use her to save humans, he will be the only one by her side in this life. Just then, Sai arrives to save the day, and he tells Yamato that he can understand why he has done everything, but he can't let him do it. Yamato has no time to talk with his greatest enemy, so he sends a slash towards Sai, injuring his legs and bringing him to his knees. He immediately goes for the kill, but as he slashes Sai in half, he realizes that it was just an illusion, and the real Sai is behind him. He hits Yamato with an energy blast and then crushes him with his overwhelming power. The android priestesses crawl towards Sai, telling him that the role of the Demon King is to make a contract with the girl who can bind the gods so that they can create a new world. Sai clearly tells them that he is not here to make a contract with Soga, but to destroy the gods who run this world according to their whims. The priestesses tell him that the Demon King is actually the proxy for gods, who destroys the world when they want it. Sai replies that he had an idea about that all the way along, and now he will destroy the gods to make people see the reality. The priestess tells him that they won't allow it to happen, and they activate the security system of the temple, causing it to crumble down. The building collapses on Sai, while the main part of the temple that is inside the giant tree flies away. Sai is still safe, and he calls his dragon to assist him in their final mission. They ride towards the giant tree, and Soga chases after them because she doesn't want Sai to sacrifice his life. The dragon shoots a bomb at the tree, opening a hole that leads them to the void inside it. There, an army of the android priestesses shoots them with magic arrows, but the dragon endures everything as he heads towards the location of the gods. The dragon connects itself with the system of the gods and tells Sai that if even one of his cables gets cut during the process, it will fail. Sai promises to protect him from the attacking priestesses till he is done, and then begins spamming powerful attacks. Despite his best efforts, some arrows hit the wounds that the dragon got from the collision earlier, but he tells Sai that he is fine. He tells him to remove the limiter on his mana, as that will allow him to use his full power, but in exchange, he may lose his life. Sai thinks it is a risk worth taking, so he unleashes his full strength and attacks the priestesses. The priestesses use all their power to rip a hole in space-time to get rid of the intruders, and Dragon tells Sai that the only way to cancel it is to release all his power at once. Sai hesitates because his actions now will change the world drastically, and in the meantime, Soga appears there after lifting her invisibility spell. She is worried about Sai, but the dragon tells her that he will control his mana till the last moment so that he can survive, but in exchange, he will have to sacrifice his life. Soga doesn't want him to die, but the dragon tells her that this is the only way they can fulfill their mission. He breaks off one tooth and gives it to Soga to keep as a memory. She immediately runs to hug Sai to help him in whatever way she can. And then suddenly, she finds herself inside her mind, where she meets her doppelganger from the future. The blonde Soga tells her that she wants to fulfill the wishes of the two men who fell in love with her. First, she wants to bring peace to Yamato, and then she wants to help Sai so that he can survive this fight because fate may have grander things in store for him. She uses her power to keep Sai safe as he releases his full power, destroying the god tree and the dragon along with it. When the giant explosion dies out, Jun comes to the site to search for Sai, and she is really glad to find that he is alive. Soon, Miwa and Yuri also arrive there, and Yuri doesn't remember anything about Sai being the Demon Lord. Instead, she thinks that Sai is the one who defeated the Demon Lord. The monster mana inside her is gone, and she can freely touch Sai to make Miwa and her sister jealous at the same time. It turns out that apart from the people who were closely involved with Sai, their memories were rewritten as the god got destroyed. Sai is glad that it happened, because he can live a normal school life now. However, one day, as they have a regular health checkup, the smoking crow reads his future and declares that his future job is the Demon Lord. Everyone freaks out on hearing this, just like they did in the past, and Sai realizes that his story has not ended just yet.